Hey everybody, welcome back to another week of Skill Series Live. If you're watching on our website and you click the links there might be a little chat box down in the bottom that won't be interacting with us here live on the show. That'll be interacting with probably Noel, who may or may not be gone for the day. So if you're going to watch this live and you want to leave comments, interact with us, ask Andrew questions, do that on our Facebook page. There should be the Facebook comments below it, or on the YouTube page, and you leave comments in the YouTube live feed. Anybody that wants to, share it out if you're watching. And yeah, event hosted by Wazoo Survival Gear, Georgia Bushcraft, and this week we've got Kokopelli Packrafts with Andrew Duran. And this guy's resume, I haven't met him personally. Apparently he's working there in the same office with the Wazoo crew. But yeah, his resume is pretty substantial as far as the diversity of adventure sports that he's into. So, Andrew, I'll let you take it away. Give us a crash course here in packrafting.
Hey, thanks so much, Nick. Thanks, Wazoo. Thanks, Georgia Bushcraft, for having us on today. My name's Andrew. I'm the sales director for Kokopelli Packraft. We're a packraft company based here in Denver, Colorado. Company's been around for a few years now. Packrafting's evolved, really took off over the last 5 years. And the boats have seen a lot of improvements. A lot of uses have changed since the years past. And we're creating a whole new industry now based on packrafting. So just a background on packrafts, if you guys don't know, we're not reinventing the wheel here. We're not creating a sport. Often I do a lot of presentations on the road and to universities, military, dealers, you name it. And often they ask is, are you creating something new? In a way, yes, but we're not reinventing the wheel. You know, these boats, if you look at Native Americans, they were using bull boats in the past. And that's a cottonwood branch with some hide around it that they were using to get downriver too. So it's the same concept. It's a light and fast concept, and it ties really well into the bushcraft scene. And I'm glad to be here to tell you about how, you know, I think we can implement packrafting with you guys and some of the expeditions or missions you might have, how our boats and how packrafts in general can implement into that. So packrafting started, you know, with Native Americans, and it kind of improved with something called the hacklet boat. And this was, I believe, in the 1700s or 1800s. But if you Google it, it's actually a pretty interesting image. It's a guy on the first inflatable boat made with a little bit of a rubber style material from the past. And he's got a sail on it, and he's using a rudder tiller out of his paddle. So one of the things we're doing now is we're going back to that. Actually,
what was the name of that?
I did that.
What was the name of that boat?
The Hacklet boat. The Peter Hacklet boat. It's an old boat. I'll send you guys some links if you guys don't get it up. But very easy craft. And the idea for it was, and the same with the Native Americans, was what if we get to something like the Columbia River Gorge, and we have to cross this river, but we don't have the necessary means to carry a lot of gear to do that. So they started making boat designs around this concept of light, fast, portable, durable, and you know it's able to stand just about every kind of little bit of whitewater, flat water, wide rivers, short creeks, you name it. And so think of the Columbia River Gorge, you got to cross it, and you need to walk 20 miles on the other side, for example. So what do? You have a lightweight inflatable, you cross the river. A lot of those techniques are pretty foundational to packrafting. For example, you know, how about, you know, when I started this, and most people started this quite a few years ago, packrafting was a very niche thing. It was people who were using a tool to get across terrain. So look at a state. Look at the coast of Alaska is probably the best example, where you have dotted coastline of water, land, water, land, and if your decision is to go and cross that whole thing somehow or navigate that coastline, you're going to have to be pretty portable and dynamic and get in and out of this boat. So the equipment has to be super light. That's the idea of packrafting. You know, downriver floats as well. We also do whitewater, but a lot of it's evolving now into more heavier materials. But so that's the heart of packrafting, and that's the concept, light and fast. Now it's starting to changing in the last 2 years with the introduction of PVC material and boat designs that have been improved. Whitewater boats and adventure boats from all brands have kind of taken off. We do PVC. We're proprietary to that. No one else does that on the market the way we do in terms of whitewater, XPD design and stuff like that. But what we're doing now, you know, packrafting historically has only been from Alaska to Colorado, somewhere in that line of geography. where it's very limited, very seasonal thing. What we've done in the past year or two, since we've been on the road a lot and working hard and expanding this, is we're trying to open it coast to coast to make it a non-seasonal commodity. And so by doing that, we make two boats. We make lightweight and PVC. A lightweight traditional Packraft was for that person that wanted to go light and fast. Now, Packrafts on the East Coast, if you're in the Everglades, you need something that's really durable. So that's going to go an extra mile. You can't bring lightweight materials into the Everglades, and you wouldn't want to bring a heavyweight material in a canyoneering trip. So you have to build Packrafts now for both sides of the boat, and there's a need for both of them. There's no quiver killer for anything, and that's how Packrafts have been evolving. We do whitewater boats up to class 3-4. You get into class 5 water, Packraft really isn't the best tool. It becomes, if you know how to do it right, it works, but it's not the best tool for it. You want something you can navigate in those waters.
Yeah,
so
that sounds
you can
terrifying.
use Yeah, we do it, but in an honest opinion, there is a better craft once you get to a certain level of water. So a lot of our boats, we use multiple applications. I'm going to run you through a quick slide here now that you have a background of what we do. We manufacture Packrafts all around the country. We're in big box. We're in specialty dealers. We're military units buy our boats, universities. We're kind of broadening the spectrum of getting the Packraft commodity into a new market. And so we're growing. Traditionally, this has been a really small thing, and we're very lucky, and we're very happy this year that we actually exploded. Packrafting's here to stay, and you're going to see it grow on both coasts in 2021 pretty quickly. And thanks again for everyone for supporting us this year. So I'm going to run you guys through a quick slide it's going to kind of introduce you to what we do, our mindset and how we create boats and all the different channels that we play in, and a little description of how and why, and then how this will translate into being into what you guys do. You can help us with that. We're a brand, we're always on our feet, and we're always learning. R&D for this brand never ends. So if you have any suggestions or any advice or any projects that you think would help with this topic in bushcraft, let us know. Hit us up at info@kokopellipackraft.com, and we're here to answer all your questions. All right, man, we can bring up the deck. All right. Are we looking at the Explore and Inspire page here?
Oops, sorry. Yeah, I'm talking on mute here. But yeah, we're good to go there.
Gotcha. All right, guys. So I'm going to run you a quick brand deck and kind of show you some pictures and go through some channels like I was saying.
Yep.
So, awesome. So that's what a Packrafter looks like. That's it's a pretty intricate thing he's got going on. He's Packrafting. I just want to point out some of the things that we have going on in this picture. We have a Packraft, we have some skis, and we have some whitewater in the background. So, and you see that zipper in the back. This tool, Packraft, is a tool. This is made for bushcraft. If you want to go light and fast and you want to carry your gear on a simple item, a Packraft is it. These things roll down to the size of a paper towel. Sometimes in the heavier weight PVC models, just a little bit bigger. But put that picture as a start in your mind of how many things you can do with this. Packrafting attracted me because of the versatility of it. I could put my bike on it. I could bring it on climbing expeditions. We have guys that go on paragliding expeditions. The military uses it. Universities are using it. You could do multiple expeditions here. We're working on projects for, wing foil kiting, dragging them like snow sleds. Like polks through canyons in Moab. So this is endless. And, I definitely want to encourage you to pick one of these up if you have time this summer and get some of the water season that's left and really try these things, because you could do a lot. So versatility is key with Packrafts. It's a tool for adventure. So, basically on your left, we have old Packrafts. That's a basic trip. You're packing your gear in, packing out, lightweight. You could do this in 4 seasons. You could be in Cartagena in the tropics. You could be in Aspen out at Alpine Lake fishing. You could be in Venice cruising through canals, or you can be in Clear Creek running whitewater. So these boats, one boat can do it all. And so, the glory of this isn't so much the boat, but the idea that we offer is you can roll these boats up and do all of these things, one boat, and it doesn't take up much space, and it's easy on the person. Packrafts in the desert Southwest and Moab and places like that. That's where you're going to see a lot of them right now. That's kind of the core is in Utah, anywhere between Utah and Alaska, but you'll see a lot of content coming out of Utah. And I recommend going to Utah for a desert Southwest trip. Moab Canyon tours out there. Visit Sylvan and all those guys. Those guys do the best tours in Moab, and then the professional Packrafters. So hit them up if you can, if you want to learn about that. You could go up in the mountains, Alpine lakes, and some whitewater. If you look down here on the exploration next to this bike packing thing, bike packing is emerging. It's pretty fast growing. Some of the things we're testing, what you can bring on your boat, you can bring up roll-up surfboards. Badfish makes a lot of cool river surfing boards. So I'm testing techniques of rolling these things up, putting them on the bow, going down river, finding river waves, having my buddy tow me in, or if it's good enough, I could do it myself, surf right into them. Other one is bike packing. You put your whole fat bike or mountain bike, whatever you want on here, and you can run up to class 2 whitewater after that. Don't recommend it. You could lose your bike. It's pretty easy to, and flipping it all the time isn't the best thing. So bike packing, if you have a mission like the Alaska coast where you need to cross some land on bike, get in the water, cross that water, get back on your bike and ping pong. That's one thing. Also bike rafting is a pretty interesting thing because you could do loops. For example, in the Chama River down in New Mexico, if you've never been there, it's one of the most beautiful places in the world. That's why Jojo O'Keefe went out there to paint. The thing about that river is there's an 8-mile run, and you can make loops and triangles. So you can leave your car, bike up the canyon, put in, float back down, and do things like that. But be creative. You can go all over town in cityscapes. You can go in the wilderness. You can go in the Caribbean, wherever it is. There's a lot of different things that this bike packing in general concept that we're exploring every day. Adventure travel is a very good industry for us as well, because think of all the things you could bring this little boat all around the world with you. So if you have a bushcraft expedition or mission in mind in the Congo, Japan, doesn't matter. You can bring a Packraft and look at it as a tool to kind of help that out and make it a better trip. Hunting is something we're developing more and more. We make PVC boats that are OD green. And the thing is, think of duck hunting season. We keep that in mind. You could put, you can go duck hunting. You can go down. We have people in Alaska that go moose hunting as well. So all different types of it. The military uses them as well. There's pretty safe and secure ways to strap down weapons and things like that. And when it comes to hunting and stuff like that, people ask about cargo. Well, how much can these hold? Up to 300 pounds on the smaller boats, but we have big boats that can get you up to 500 to 600 pounds. And internalized cargo, we have things on the back of these boats that are really well thought out, and they're good for expeditions. There's something called a tie zipper on the back. I'll show you in a slide in a few. You could put all your gear inside the pontoon, zip it up and boogie, and now you have nothing in your face, no restrictions. If you're in whitewater, you can actually see what's going on. It's a much safer ride.
You put it inside the pontoon, so it's inside the inflated part of the boat?
Yeah, we'll get to it. I'll show you guys here before we go. I'll actually give you a live demo of how it works. And, cool. For someone that's doing bushcraft and is light and fast, is a very, very, very good extra on it because, if you're somebody that's running if you're doing an expedition and you want to store gear, you're going to be out for multiple days. You're going to want to tie zip. But if you're just going for a day trip or something easy, you might not want to tie zip because you might not want to do the extra work of tie zip lubing and stuff like that. But it's an extra tool to your quiver as well. If you're living in a van and you travel around the country doing expeditions and just live out of your van, I know a lot of people. It's really hot right now. People are doing that. They're getting a lot of good content, living different lives, and getting out there a lot more these days. That's a big part of our business too. A lot of the van folks are really big into the Alpine lakes. Here behind me, if you can see outside the studio, we have the Rocky Mountains, and that's the Indian Peaks, the Front Range, Boulder, Longmont, all that area. Up behind us, there is so many Alpine lakes that within, 18-mile drive from Boulder, you're up at elevation, and you do another 2-mile walk from the parking lot, you're way up, maybe at 10,000, 9,000 feet, and you're in these cirques and bowls with Alpine lakes. The water is purple. You could free dive in them. I bring kites up there. I'll go free diving as well. I mean, it's just opportunities endless. And you bring a little Packraft when you go put in. Nowadays on a Saturday, there'll be a million people out there. But if you inflate your boat in front of these people, you steal the show. People want it. They ask you. They just want to get on it. I mean, it's the coolest toy to bring around and have in your kit. So here's the thing. The main problem when you look at, hold on one second. Push on that. So problem nowadays is, with any other kayak, and this is why I think Bushcraft and Packrafts is a good mix, because you couldn't bring any other of these commodities on a realistic bushcraft mission, but you want to be light and fast. This is what a Packraft packs down to. If you haven't ever seen one packed down, that's a paper towel. That's the boat. If you notice this bike down here, the boat fits cleanly on the handlebars. So you can do a lot of things with these things, and they're super durable. And for repairs, people ask about repairs in the field and all that kind of stuff. How durable are they? I've run these things through the ringer, PVC, TPU, all over the world, man. And I've never had anything explode on me or anything like that. It's not how it goes. I put my bikes on them, surfboards. I use them as tenders. I use them in marine. We do this in the marine environments as well on the coast. So we run these things through a lot, and it's a super durable craft.
Yeah, I'm sold.
Now I want to run you really quick kind of what we do and what these boats look like. So I have a Packraft here behind me. This is a Whitewater Nirvana boat, and it's a TPU boat, spray skirt as well. So some of the things about our boats, we make them in TPU, PVC, like we said. When we mean TPU, the yellow materials TPU, anything in the outdoor industry that's light, fast, and extremely durable is going to be more expensive. So TPU tends to be more expensive on the market. And this application for TPU is the person that wants to travel all around the world. Keep 2 of these in carry-ons. It fits in carry-on. Or also, there is a cave in Vietnam that you want to go to, and there's an existing tubing operation, or you can do it and it's safe enough. You can bring one of these boats all around the world, get in the water and do it. So that's a Rogue Light, but this is Nirvana. This is a whitewater boat. If you were carrying a Nirvana, really the greatest application would be light and fast. Same exact thing as I just talked about with the Rogue Light. But with this, you can walk 10 miles into a creek or river that not many people have ever gone to. And you wouldn't traditionally want to walk a big boat because it's too much weight, too heavy, just not in the picture. This is why you'd want to bring a whitewater TPU boat. Here at Kokopelli, we make inflatable kayaks as well. And so inflatable kayaks is going to become a big part of our business, because we believe we're on both coasts. So kayaks right now, this is a record-breaking paddle year, and boats are getting out all over. But we really, this year we expanded into the marine markets, yachting and sailing world. And with that comes new products, new ideas, new concepts like e-boost, stuff like that, and sales. We're working on sale projects as well. So, we're growing as a brand. We're not just Packrafts anymore. We do kayaks, feather pumps. We're getting into the e-boost market and sale market as well, because we want to grow as a brand. We believe in adventure. Our brand makes adventure products, and we're always improving that. So that's kind of where we're at. So I want you to look at the Rogue. The Rogue is, we're going to go down to the Rogue Light. So the Rogue Light is the lightest Packraft in our fleet. It's 4.9 pounds, has a Kevlar floor, but this is the boat you could take all over the world. If you're in a bushcraft and you want to go do a mission, and that you're not running whitewater, it's pretty tame. You're not going to be around coral and things like that, but you need a lightweight boat. The Rogue Light's our go-to boat for lightweight. The XPD below it, this is PVC. This is the boat that, if you value more security, you're doing a 400-mile Yukon trip, and you're not worried so much about being lightweight, but you really need the security of a boat that's going to go the mile, this is it. The XPD is our workhorse in the fleet for durability. And so, think military, think special operations, mountain rescue, just general consumers as well. And tours, guides, universities. A lot of folks use this boat. We have multiple channels of business because it's just such a workhorse, and there's nothing on it there's nothing like it on the market. I personally take this boat all over the world with me. I mean, I've tested it in just about every condition. I put my life on the line with it as well, so I could stand by it. That's a lot of what we do here in this company is R&D and build good boats. We're the core of the company. We don't focus on things we're not good at. We focus on what we are good at and roll with that as much. And that's how we get here. We make whitewater boats. Talked about the Nirvana. The difference between whitewater boats and adventure boats, there's a big difference. Also materials as well. In both lineups, we have PVC and TPU. It gives you both avenues to approach packrafting. If you have lightweight missions, you go TPU, PVC for the more durable stuff. Both of the floors, I don't have one here, but we have something called self-bailers. Traditionally, if you're in the water sports, paddle sports industry, you'll know what that means. It means little holes in the floors for people that don't. And what it does, this is a bucket boat, so no water is getting in. With self-bailer, water actually comes into the boat, but you float on it on a seat. So the difference in a whitewater packraft with self-bailer is water's coming in, you're going to get wet, but think of a cruise ship always equalizing in rough seas. It's pumping water up and down. So when that water's coming in, it's keeping you in the rapids on the boat. So think of all this technology, all these improvements in a lightweight inflatable that is going into a package the size of a paper towel. You can do a lot. We make spray skirt models as well. That tie zip, that zipper I'm showing you right up here, if I pulled that zipper, that boat would deflate. So let's say in the morning we're camping. You have your sensitive items, you have cold weather gear, things that you cannot get wet. So what you do is you put that in 2 dry bags. I could fit 80 liters in 2 dry bags inside both of the pontoons, zip that thing up, and we make a product called the feather pump that can inflate this boat in 60 seconds. So back in the day, traditionally Packrafts, you had 2 ways to inflate it. 3, I'm sorry. A bag that you capture air and you kind of just blow it up like lawn chair furniture, the inflatable version of that. And then you have a tube that you could blow into, which is always the long shot. It'll always be there. And then we made a feather pump, and the feather pump, it'll hold a charge it'll run for 37 minutes, and you can get about 26 and a half boats out of it. And that's a lot, because back in the day when we were packrafting, you big groups of people, the bag was the fastest way to do it. And what you would do is you would inflate this bag. You would have 8 people. By the time 3 people were ready, it was already an hour later. So nowadays you can get in 15 minutes, have everyone's PPE checked, have their boats inflated with 2 people pretty easily. So feather pumps, inflation.
Can you give us a quick rundown on what exactly a feather pump is? How's that different than like a little battery powered pump that you blow up an air mattress with, for example?
All right, so it does all of it. I'll show you on a slide. Give me a second. So a feather pump, I'm going to go on the website really quick, guide you guys through it. It's a tough thing to explain. But what it is, it's a pump roughly the size of your fist, less than your fist. And what you could do with it is inflate the boats. It has multiple uses. We've actually had some SEAL teams test them for us, and what they found was pretty interesting. All right, cool. So if you guys can see this, it's called feather pump. And what it does, it's for inflation, deflation, works with all the air mattresses on the market, and we actually give you all the valves for that as well. And what the SEAL teams taught us is the best fire starter. So if you're in a bushcraft, this is a pretty popular tool. And a lot of things like this tool is one of our best-selling products because it kind of crosses boundaries, not just for packrafts, but as you can see, you could buy any air mattress at REI, Sportsman's Warehouse, West Marine, any of the major big box players, Moose Jaw, you name it. It'll work with their products already. And, eventually we're improving this as best we can every year. This is a really, really cool idea. And, be on the lookout for the waterproof version coming out soon. But the feather pump, big part of our program, back to inflation. You need one. If you're going to be in packrafting for a long while and you think you're going to be in it, that's what you want. So go back to the boats real quick. This is called the Recon. Big blue boat, and it's PVC, and this is a self-bailer as well. So this is the counterpart to the Nirvana, the heavyweight version of it. If you were going on a 200-mile whitewater trip that's going to last you a while, or you're going to be on the coast, it's going to be rough and you need a little bit more anchor. I've surfed these all over on both coasts, and I've been in whitewater with them, and I surf them in waves as well here in Denver. It's the workhorse of the Whitewater line now. And if you're on the fence, if you're ever going in to purchase a Packraft and you're on the fence whether what boat should I get, the light one or the heavy one, I tend to send people to the heavy side. Average person now, you want something that's going to last you a really long time, bomber boat that you could throw in your garage, the back of your truck. And you're not, and if you see yourself not carrying but like a lot of weight and you're not doing the light and fasting, you're just going to the putting in your boat, getting picked up at the other side, the Recon's the way to go. We also make some lake boats, a little Hornet Light, very lightweight Alpine boat. And these are the inflatable kayaks, the Moki series as well. You can fish on them. You can actually stand up, paddleboard on it. The floors are super strong. And we make a tandem Packraft, which is a very, very, very cool craft if you're doing desert Southwest trips, anything wide river where you value more cargo and a better time. For example, on this same setup a few weeks ago, I had 2 coolers up front, a big radio, and me in the back. And inside I had tie-zip. I had food and clothing and everything for a group of 4 in this one boat. So you can really go far. And that's it. That's kind of what we do. That's the brand intro about Kokopelli. And, you know, some of what we do, I do recommend going on our website and you can kind of get a better picture. With Packrafting, there is a trade organization. It's called the American Packrafting Association. We are members of it. We're some of the bigger sponsors of it. And I do recommend that you go check them out. If you want some education, some history, and some training, there's a lot of links there that'll help a beginner Packrafter kind of get into the game. This year, we grew the commercial industry. I think like 22 operations around the country was my last check. And last year, there was maybe 1, like rental, real commercial operations. So it's a growing thing.
Wow.
But I do recommend on our website, we do have a commercial listing of people that you can go rent the Packraft. So if it's something you're curious about, and there's a lot of mail order Packraft rentals. So if you do have a Bushcraft trip coming up, it's, you wanted to rent it before you bought it, there's a lot of opportunities for that. So now to the topic with Bushcraft and Packrafting, this can be used in a lot of different ways. If you're going, if you want to cross the Everglades and you really want to test yourself in the swamps of Florida, Packraft's probably the hardest thing you can use to do it, but it could happen, any river trip, any body of water, you could use a Packraft as a sled to pull as well. Like if you were skiing across a glacier field, you were snow kiting, you can use it as a pulk. So there's many uses. This year, like I was saying, we're in the marine industry, and we're going to be a lot on the coast discovering all the different uses for Packrafts on the coast. On sailboats, it's going to be the next big thing, I think. And that's because, sailors now, you can anchor up in any marina and take long are the days. If you go to any marina in America, let's say Newport, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, any with a big sailing presence, you'll notice one thing is that there's probably in that 30 to 40 foot range sailboat, some big plastic kayak of the past on there still. Packrafts kind of, once it's new to that, we're going to be in West Marine this year and a lot in Florida and a lot in that market. But, once you paddle through a marina, all these people start coming out and talking to you, hey, I've seen those things on the internet. They quickly turn over into Packrafts because it's a much better product. If the weather's bad, you don't have to worry about your kayak getting blown over shore. It looks ugly, and the Packraft's just a much better tool if you actually want to get into close. You want to go get some food on shore. You can put it in your bag, come back and boogie. So there's a need for it in just about every market, commercial as well. Bushcraft, I'm very interested to see how it develops. We do work with the military a lot. And we do have a lot of interesting characters out there that test our boats. So if you're in the Bushcraft community and you think you can add value to what we do, we're open to ideas anytime.
Yeah, I think
a lot.
we're referencing Bushcraft in general a lot, but the concept, I guess the living feature behind Bushcraft is people trying to do more with less. And I think this really ties in directly with that. And I mean, as much as you guys are an adventure company, I'd like to think that we're growing into that as well, that we're more the adventure safety side of it, that you always have a backup with you. And so we disguise kits and things into otherwise unobtrusive items. So we're saving space, we're saving weight, we're saving size. And it's just, it blows my mind the amount of stuff that you could open up potentials for by having a boat. And a lot of the things that you talked about, the places to go, the things to do, the beautiful mountains, all that, like, that's what everybody dreams about. That's the lifestyle people want to live. But there's people like myself and Casey that are stuck down in the swampy South, and you come to a body of water and it's chocolatey brown and you know there's alligators in it. I'm not going to cross that just willy-nilly. So instead, you know, whip out the pack raft and safely scoot across, stay dry, because high humidity, you don't dry off that fast. So you get wet once, you're wet. So it's just, there's a whole potential, I think, there that's still untapped, but that's super cool.
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of piggybacking off what you're saying, it's a great point, because I'm from Miami. I grew up down there. I grew up with humidity. I grew up down in the subtropics and going to the tropics my whole life. And that's the hardest terrain to kind of play in and survive in. I mean, it's a lot of humidity. It's always wet. And with a pack raft, like I was saying earlier, the TPU boats, it wasn't a good tool to have in the swamps in the Southeast in general. And now with PVC, like the XPD, that's what that boat's design is for. That's why we're going there. We want to go, you know, for me, I always want to be in Florida pack rafting, but I didn't think that it was the right tool. Now I have the right tool. And like this summer, last fall, we spent about 55 days on the road just doing Florida and the Southeast. And I'll be back in Florida for 3 months this winter, putting in the time to grow all that side of the pack rafting market. That's, you know, the Southeast is coming up. The big part of what we want to grow into is we go to, and how we work for R&D is, you know, we'll have an idea. We don't just think our boat will force it into an area and say, this is going to work here. We're going to go to that area. We're going to develop a boat, a prototype, test that. If it's no good, you know, go back to the drawing boards, do it again, send another boat down there until we get it right. And then, you know, as long as it's a good, you know, fit for the terrain, then we'll use it and we'll bring it to market. But we don't, you know, we don't make boats that we don't personally use. This is a lot of what we use. And I use these boats all around the world. But Florida and the Southeast, that's the last frontier for pack rafting. I mean, when you look at Montana, Alaska, I lived in Alaska, traveled a lot in Montana, and I'm from Florida. One common thing about those places is that the animals can eat you. I think Florida is a little bit more extreme on that. The animals, the people, the terrain, just about everything can eat you pretty easily down there. So it's the last frontier.
If you're done showing off the boat, you want me to drop the other camera here so you can just look at your computer and not have to be bouncing back and forth? Is that easier for conversation?
Yeah, man, that'll work better. Thanks.
There, how about that? All right,
good.
Now we can actually chat more and less you in the spotlight.
Gotcha. So, I'm looking at these lights. What kind of questions do you guys have? Do you guys have any questions?
Pull that up here. TPU is lighter than PVC, correct?
Correct. TPU is lighter than PVC, and TPU is, once again, for that person that's going to pack this in. You know, lightness is everything. Being able to move fast and pack this really light into the size of a paper towel is TPU. PVC, you'll pack it down to the size of a basketball. It's probably double the weight, but that leans more on it's definitely a more secure boat when it comes to backcountry.
All right. And then
swampy things.
He's got one produced in Argentina, very versatile for trekking in Patagonia. I'm guessing there's plenty of other pack rafts on the market, but it's about the movers and the shakers and the new ideas and the new R&D that are shaping the industry.
So yeah, just a market background. It's actually pretty small. There's some really small guys, probably like 3 of them probably 3 companies that the market share isn't very big internationally. And then you have really 2 bands competing in the United States, us, Kokopelli, and the company called Alpaca. Alpaca makes boats too. They're from Mancos. They've been doing this way longer than we have. I started on their boats as a beginner pack rafter, and I'm nothing bad to say, but good things about their boats. And I thank them for getting me into this, you know. But where we're at now in the U.S., so you have Alpaca and Kokopelli. we're just doing way different things now as it's evolved. We're looking at channels and markets and saying, how do we adapt Packrafts there? How do we take it there? A lot of the conversation you hear now from brands is, recently with all the politics and things going on, is a lot of brands are, instead of, it's the opposite of our ethos and what we do. People are saying, customers, let's say in the Southeast, come to us. And in the mountain areas, and I feel bad because you're not coming. Well, we don't do that. We go take our brand somewhere. We invest our people, our time, and our resources, and we take it to a new area, take the chance, and we help these people understand what we're doing, and then we grow it that way. We're very active about that. And so how we differ as two companies, they're doing really well at what they do, and we're chasing a lot of new markets and growing the commodity into an international big box commodity that that everyone can have, and it's within reach.
Now, with that though, I know a lot of times with many industries across the market, there are always Chinese knockoffs, just like you talked about the inflatable lawn furniture. Like, has the market been flooded with the $20 Packraft that's just a modified version of the blow up lawn chair?
Yeah, there's a few of them now. You see some in the States, and the way they're promoted is funny because, remember, you don't want to tell people to get on the water in emergency situations. And one thing I do caution people when you get in the EMS world and it's getting a survival situation, Hurricane Irma, when these big hurricanes, Sandy, stuff like that, you would say, well, Packraft would be a great tool to have in the house, and just as a safety kit, as my bailout. I think I would have one, and I keep one in my house for that as well. But one thing I discourage people from doing is thinking in that mindset and saying, I'm going to go Packraft in the hurricane. Yeah. Maybe if you could stay home, that's probably a better bet for you. I grew up with hurricanes. You don't want to go out doing that.
Well, and those people are going to be the one that's going to be the first time they open the package, and they're going to look at the instructions and be like, well, hurricane seems like a good time to learn how to use this.
There will be, and that's how in some cases it's promoted. We don't do it that way. We do work with SOCOM, and we do work with search and rescue guys, but we do that, and we're trying to build boats that they want with ratings. That my background is with a lot of mountain rescue teams and technical climbing, things like that. And one thing we want to do is build not what we think is a good boat for them, but a boat that they will use. And we're learning. We learned a lot this year with all the different elements that, hey, you might have to extend it a little bit and put some new attachment. There's a lot. But to answer your question with the knockoffs, they exist, but they don't have the pedigree and the reputation. And I think that just says it all. We've been doing this for a while, and we've been taking it seriously for a while, not taking shortcuts. You did grow from a small brand to now a very, very functionally, really, really good brand in a lot of big box stores, specialty stores. We've just kind of gone different directions in the market, and knockoffs, they don't really compete. It's hard. You need a pedigree. You need a brand.
Typically the case with most knockoffs, but it's just disappointing to see the amount of purchases that come from it. And
the thing is, like, back to us, like we're a ground game company. So my opinion is we're our best reps, and if I can't be the best rep from the company, then you should probably take me away from doing this. But it's just the way it is, man. Like, we're on the ground so much all over.
With you guys doing ground game and traveling and going to the different regions and whatnot, and researching and trying to target like there on the ground in person, do you guys do gatherings or get-togethers or Kokopelli club type stuff that packrafting groups join together and just have big packrafting events around the country?
Yeah, there's an annual event in the United States and Europe, and you could check the United States, the event list on APA, American Packrafting Association. Okay. It was canceled this year, I believe. The one in Europe as well, very similar. New Zealand has a pretty strong market. Yeah, I was in Idaho last one, and I don't know where it's going to be coming up whenever they do have it again, but they move it around every year. But it's it's a pretty cool event. Get a lot of people there now.
Awesome. Got a question here. Does Kokopelli mean something? What does Kokopelli mean?
So Kokopelli, if you know the lore of the Southwest and some of the culture there, you'll see the image of Kokopelli on a lot of petroglyphs and things like that on the rocks down there.
Player dude.
Yeah, and so the founder of the company, Kelly, and his buddy Nick Rubino and another guy named Alan, they all came from Maine Coast in that area, and Kokopelli inspired those guys to name the brand Kokopelli. It used to be Kokopelli Packraft. Now it's Kokopelli, since we've introduced all the other products, and we're just going with a bigger brand now.
Very cool.
I'm back. Stupid internet.
Gotcha.
Hey, I got a question.
Something real quick. What would you, if you could use a Packraft, how would you implement this into what you guys do?
Well, I was going to ask you about the XPD for that specific reason, for doing like intercoastal type stuff. I mean, but that specific raft in general, is it pretty rigid for doing intercoastal type stuff? I mean, I'm not like getting out into the water, into the ocean, but like all the back channels and going between.
That's what that boat's for. That's what we designed it for, is that one thing. And I tested it before it went to market this year. I did 55 days on the road with it. I've done both coasts. I've done the Gulf of Mexico. I've done Jamaica, and just about everywhere I travel with it. Man, that thing went under the Golden Gate Bridge the other day. But the initial testing was for that. It's something durable for, if you think of like Savannah area, where you can have beautiful like little snake things, little rivers, but then they recede, tide goes in and out. And it's just oyster beds and clams and things that will rip up a boat. That was made for that reason. Coral for Florida and places like that where you have rockier terrain, so you can actually pull it and drag it. Say like rocks too, sandstone too. Actually, the commercial guys in, let's say, Moab and places like that, for many years they were using just TPU boats. And the problem with that is when you have, let's say you're going on a tour, the argument was, how heavy is this thing? Is it going to make it? If I'm doing a canyoneering tour for a day, should I have my customers carry TPU boats or PVC boats? Well, most of these guys are moving over to PVC because they're not walking very far. They're like 100 yards to a rappel to the next one. And the problem is you get 5 new customers that have never been on paddles. It's a day trip for them. Put them in boats and say, go down that slot canyon. They go right for the wall. And they start treading the lightweight stuff. So that's another example for like sandstone, PVC, all those rough materials is what the XPD is for. Okay. Awesome, that's your beater. That's your real bush boat. If you want to go out in the woods and you want to get loose a little bit and go far and deep, that's your boat. You want security, you need something like that. And if you flip it over at night, it's your bed.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Those are some of the exact applications, in like the bushcraft or outdoor, prepper type world, where you're looking for something that's sort of lightweight and versatile, and you have that option where I don't have to haul my big ass kayak, you know what I mean, back where I can't get it. So I get that.
Yeah, you want to be able to boogie.
Yeah. So let's talk this a little bit. So I have some experience kayaking, and I've had some very poor experiences on flat bottom, I guess, like cheapo
tracking.
Yeah. So in water tracking, these things look like they're mainly a flat bottom, but they're also significantly lighter than a kayak. So how does that work out?
It's a good question. Let me grab this and talk about the draft of these boats. So one thing I want you guys to notice, how the draft on this, if anyone doesn't know what draft is, Google it.
I'm going to bring it back on the other camera here. Let's see. Cool. Is that better or worse?
No, that's fine. One thing I want you guys to notice is right here, the boat kind of concaves and goes in. So instead of, you can kind of see it better. So if I'm holding it flat, you notice the Packraft is flat, but it's not completely flat. It actually, if you notice really quickly, I'm pushing down on the floor, and you can see the floor as I'm pushing down, and I'm not pushing on it. It's flat. It's actually going up about an inch. And so the draft on this, when you sit on it with your seat, becomes flat. So you're not dragging as much. Now, when it comes to tracking, it's a really good question. And some of the things we're doing this year to improve these boats is creating accessories to make these boats a lot smoother in flat water and bays and coastal areas. And so we have a skeg accessory that's coming out this year, and it's just a glue-on fin. You could take it on or off. It'll be like a regular FCS fin on a surfboard or something like that. And then our kayaks, they do come with skegs already. And the tracking, I always tell people when they get into a pack raft for the first time, a lot of times, especially a lightweight boat, they want to go paddle and throw a lot of energy into that thing, and they start going like this or like this. And so what I tell people is like, less energy. Use your fingertips. You don't need to paddle these things hard. Just get in it, small paddles. It's more like feeling it, like you really, really got to lean. When I used to paraglide a lot, they used to tell you if you want to be a good pilot, lean before you pull the toggle and look where you want to go. It's the same concept with a pack raft to me. Look where you want to go.
Coming from the kayaking side, which most people have probably done at some point, you're instinctively going to try and push and dig because you're trying to move the 50, 60-pound kayak with you. And so you've increased your weight a whole lot more. And now you've got very little weight other than yourself. And so, it just creates a pivot point, but you don't really need to push all that hard.
In certain situations, the crux of not having a fin will catch up with you. I think, where it really, I've been testing a lot of sails and this exact concept this year, Miami, San Francisco. I just did a tour of the West just with this concept. And you definitely need a skeg. If your intention is to use a pack raft to cross big open water, and you're going to be in the coast and you're going to be fishing, and you just know you're going to be in open water a little bit. It's reservoirs, stuff like that. Even an Alpine lake might work, If it's really, really windy and choppy, it's really hard, it'll start spinning you. These boats aren't designed for a lot of frontal wind. It's good from the rear, but you don't want a headwind on these boats. It'll push you back. They're so light. So with that, like a skeg, if you find yourself on the coast a lot and you're not doing what we just talked about more in the smaller side of things, like little creeks and savanna style rivers where it's really tight and low, you don't need a skeg there. But open water, I would say put it on. Get an accessory kit. It's going to make the boat much better for you where you're at. If you live in I had a dealer in Lake Tahoe the other day explain this to me best. He's like, you guys make great products. Lake Tahoe is a beautiful place for this. It's like Portofino for pack rafts when you're by the coast. It's just perfect. And thing is like without a skeg, he's like, I don't even want to try it. And that got the bells ringing. Like we have to do this now. And so the accessory we have a skeg coming out. Another idea that we're working with now with some other companies is e-boosts on the bottom.
Oh, wow.
So with the skeg, now you have the e-boost skeg, and that's a lot where we're going. We're trying to be as forward thinking with Packrafts as possible. We have little partnerships with Scotty Mounts and Ram, and we're figuring out how do you put the fishing poles on here? How do you make this thing an e-boat? Just like you would see a Hobie or something like that tailored, the next generation pack raft where someone doesn't want to paddle in Biscayne Bay or across Lake Union, but they want to go fish out there and they want to get out there really quick. Hey, if you're in a pack raft and that's your tool to do it, I'm not judging you. And I think I love e-technology. I think it's great. It's come so far, just to put this little water missile under a pack raft and boogie, it's pretty incredible,
So on that same concept, then the skeg, you guys specialize in super small compact stuff. So is the skeg going to have to be a separate hard piece, or is it going to be flexible enough that it can be rolled up with the raft?
Based on placement and where you would roll this raft, it's going to be in the right spot, so it won't interfere. But that's a good question, because putting a skeg on a boat, when you actually do that, it will, you'll lose an inch of its nice, clean roll. And so it's just part of it. And that's like the headache of, do we do this for boats or do we not? And so we're going to gradually teach people how to do it, move into the process, and it's just going to make packrafting better. As we're in the coast and places like that, we need skegs in certain.
I know they make there's some cylindrical shapes in aerodynamics, and essentially it creates that linear flow as well. Did you guys consider a cylindrical one that would actually clip around the outside and then you can just reassemble it and attach it, and then you've got a cylindrical skeg straightener.
Seen it, but the ones that, you know, what we're working with, it's pretty basic. It's light. We made it. It's a longer fin. It'll be most likely a longer fin and a shorter skeg box. So
Cool.
fit the need. And like it, you know, your that fin needs to fit in the roll as well. Take it off and you can roll it tight.
Well, and you asked how we would use these. I do canine search and rescue also, and I was debating whether or not this would work for that. And I hadn't seen your 2-seater version yet. We could potentially have a canine handler and the canine up front, or just the canine up front and the handler could paddle around. But how sturdy is the floor? Like, is a dog going to be wobbling all over and the whole thing unstable, or is the floor relatively rigid once it's on the water?
It's rigid on the water. And so like what we're finding with like search and rescue, a lot of that, you know, it's if you've been in search and rescue for a while, it's a 2-man thing. So you got to make a 1-man craft for a 2-man operation. And then you want to rate it, and you want to make these attachment points ANSI standards. So we're really thinking big here, and like that's where we're going. And we're listening to guys like you in the field giving us recommendations on these things. And like, actually, it's a really good topic because I talked to a lot of mountain rescuers, you know, MRA folks and all that, but not dog handlers really. And it's really good input. We should probably connect after this and figure out how does this work? It's a good tool for that.
Yeah, it's a new realm for us. We've done a couple training seminars with different people, but it is such a specialty that everybody that does it has their very own kind of unique way of either beginning the training or doing the training, or what boat they prefer. Some people prefer kind of the inflated pontoon boats. Some people prefer more of like a flat bottom John boat where the dog can get down close to the water and it's nice and rigid and small. And then there's other people that prefer really big boats so they can have a whole crew of people with them. So we've seen every different side of it, but when it comes down to it, if you're a dog team and you're deployed to search an area and you got to go way out there, you're not going to lug a John boat with you. You're not probably even going to lug one of the big pontoon boats. Kayak would even be questionable if you got to hike it out there a couple miles, but something like this would have the potential to at least get out on a body of water and you know, give it a once over. May not be perfect, it may not be ideal, but if you set up trainings to work it, it's got potential.
This is what we're doing all around the country, is like each one of these little channels. I was presenting to the state of Colorado 2 weeks ago. And so this was the boating program managers, these guys who make the rules. You know, they take the legislators, get the funding, decide what's legal, what's not in terms of craft, with PFD stuff, all the rules. And Packrafts had never really been addressed to them. So I went over there, presented to all the river rangers and the director of the state of Colorado. And, you know, a lot of the goal was safety. You know, safety is paramount. We want to know that our boats are safe for commercial purposes and that we're doing the right thing that the states want us to be doing. So we were good. Everyone, you know, we did the presentation. We found a lot of success with it. But with all these systems, that's where we're finding, like, how do you fit Packrafts into these systems? Because those guys, similarly, each one of the leadership in the Rangers and the state Rangers and the leadership of from the state level, they carry a boat, a kayak in their car, most of them, and they deploy that way. That's how they do their rescues. That's how they do their investigations. And so it's like a really light and fast, hey, we got to get out there quick. And so now we're trying to figure out, hey, how do we develop this concept with our Packrafts? And then, you know, we go to Utah, we go to all the other states and say, all right, guys, we found an official, you know, not a commercial use for us, but a public safety use for these things as well.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, the only other question I see coming through right now, it probably puts you on the spot and we can follow up with it later if you choose to, but one of our regular viewers and fans says, any awesome discounts for the Wazoo Skills Live customers?
Yes, we do. And we will send that out. We'll have, if you're on Wazoo's email list, or logging on here, you can take down their email list. We'll have a code for you guys tomorrow morning. I'm sorry, I don't generate the codes, but I'll have my team work on it tonight, and we'll figure out a Wazoo Skills discount for you guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Appreciate that, man.
You got any other closing comments or anything, Andrew?
Now, I want to say thanks again for having us, and thanks for letting us talk about packrafting. If you guys have any interest or have any questions, do hit us up at info@kokopellipackraft.com. We do demos everywhere. So if anyone on the team, we're out on the street, you see our van, and you're interested, don't be shy. Come right up to us. You know, it's often that Zach, he's one of our younger guys. He handles the Whitewater and logistics. He'll go every day we paddle, you know, whether we're in town or not. He'll bring someone out for a demo. I'll bring you out on the demo. You know, we want to help grow this. So just reach out. We're here for you. And thanks so much.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on with us, and good talk. And yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully some other people are excited about getting a Packraft as well. Sounds like Casey is for sure.
Right on, man. We'll figure this out.
Again,
and we'll
man.
tell some good stories with it. Take it
All
easy.
right.
Y'all have a good one.
Make sure you're on our mailing list, and we'll send out that coupon code and hopefully drive a little bit of traffic to Kokopelli. Thanks
Yeah.
again, man.
Sounds good.
Appreciate it.
See you guys later.
I appreciate it. Have a good night, man.
You too.